Hi, it's me, your boyfriend slash girlfriend slash day friend's favorite content creator, TTV and Gaming, the tall black nerd. And, well, I mean, the Game Awards happen, as they do every year. But I feel like this past year, or depending on when you're watching this, yesterday's award show was probably the best one they've done. It felt special, you know? And that could have to do with the fact that a lot of games that I've been looking forward to, including a couple I didn't even know that were going to exist, like Hello Okami 2. What the hell? I mean, I had literal tears in my eyes when they announced that. I love Okami. I love it so much. I played it on almost every system it's available on. But I felt such joy. And it felt almost foreign to me, which sounds sad, but I do have joy in my life, okay? But in the context of it being related to just like gaming as a whole, because if you have any interest in video games outside of like just like playing them, but like people in the industry or the studios, the developers, what have you, or they've been watching my videos, you'll know that there's been a pretty sizable loss of talent in the gaming industry. Multiple layoffs, literally thousands of people out of a job within the span of like a few months. Games not doing too well, and so studios being shut down, or games not reaching some lofty expectation and studios being shut down. But again, I can get in detail on that in my other videos, which I already do, so that's not just about. But coming into the show, I was expecting same old. And instead, what I got was, I guess, a bit of perspective. This show really helped put things into a better light for me. I feel like this has been going on forever now, but there has been a very, very, very strong shift within like the gaming community of just overwhelming negativity. And I'm sure you've seen, if you've been online, especially if you've been on that site, that anytime there is a game that's been announced, there's a game that wins an award, there's a game that people are playing that's popular, there is always those people who will find any reason to hate on the game. The Witcher 4 had its full-blown trailer, and a surprise to no one who's played The Witcher 3 or read the books, I am the former, Ciri is the main character. She's the lead. She's kind of always been the most important person in the entire series. A lot of people excited, happy, joyful. But then, of course, it's the usual suspects who have to do that typical, oh, it's a woman, let's go frame by frame till we find an unflattering frame, which is, again, in motion. And they'll use that as saying, oh, she's woke because she's ugly. She got hit with a DEI stick. She's not hot anymore. As if the entirety of the person's entire existence was to be hot. You've seen it 1,000 times, anytime it's further. Or when Naughty Dog announced an actual new IP that wasn't just The Last of Us again, even though they also did just announce The Last of Us Part 2 remastered again. They released a new IP, and it's starring a woman. At the very least, as one of the characters, maybe she's the only character, not much information's been out. It literally was announced during the award show. She is gorgeous. That face card is lethal. And yet, the usual suspects, of course they choose a black lesbian girl boss. These people who don't understand things like genre homages, people who say that they'd be totally cool with Ripley, even though every character who's been based off of Ripley in some way, shape, or form, they've called woke girl bosses, are upset about this. They have no idea what the game's about. Like literally zero. And they're already upset because of how a character looks. I have been dealing with these people for, again, feels like forever. And it's the same tactics all the time. And after a while, it starts to feel like this is all it's ever going to be. This is all that it is. It's just going to be a bunch of losers online who are failures, who are either failed, game developers or failed YouTubers who tried one way that went to a grift and found success grifting on people. And they're just going to be spewing this bullshit, and it's just going to be all we're hearing all the time. But then I watched the Game Awards and I noticed a huge shift. I noticed that people were just excited. They were happy. There was games being released I didn't hear about. They were fucking going nuts. Again, Okami sequel. What the fuck? That was my Capcom, thank you so much. But you had moments where you had people like Sam Lake having fun going up there. You had, Hideo Kojima over there. You had these industry titans there, all in one place, celebrating the work that they do, the work that their colleagues do. Because at the end of the day, it is, I know it sounds corny, but it is a celebration. Of course, there's awards, so someone's going to win, but that doesn't necessarily mean people are losing. Look at a company like Shift Up, who were just a mobile company, and now they're in the same room as Hideo Kojima. They went to Insomniac Studios. They were nominated alongside some people who I have to assume inspired them, or they've at least played their games. Like, that's a huge thing for someone in a creative field to be respected and to be acknowledged by your peers, especially those, again, who probably inspired you. And I'm seeing them being happy about that, but I'm seeing their supposed fans being upset they went to the woke Insomniac. I'm seeing Team Asobi crying over the fact that they won Game of the Year. Well deserved. It was a tough year for games once again, but even tougher in terms of which is the best game of the year. You had so many options, and they acknowledged that, and went even a step further and acknowledged the impact that Nintendo had. Right? This went beyond them. There's a history here. There's a respected history in video games. And I'm seeing them. They're like historians. They are students of the game, so to speak, right? And I'm watching that. And then I'm seeing people talking about, man, Team Asobi won. Astro Bot. It's just a Sony IP graveyard. And it's like, why is this negativity always there? You guys are the ones who play their games. You're a large reason why this award show even exists. Like, you bought the games, you voted for them, and yet these people are so negative. And so the perspective I gained, or I should say, regained, was that these are a very small group of people. Like, all those anti-woke, anti-DEI, clearly hate women, bigoted people who constantly voice the fact that they have displeasure that white guys are no longer the leads in movies and video games and TV shows and what have you, are an insignificant voice compared to the hundreds of thousands of developers and the millions of gamers across the planet who love that shit. I was watching the award show, and at one point, Jeff Keighley, to my surprise, was directly acknowledging the fact that the game industry was going through a tough time. Lots of layoffs, studios being shut down. And I'm like, hey, bullying works.
Games were nothing without the people behind them. Now, the sad reality is that over the past few years, the gaming industry has suffered significant and unprecedented industry-wide layoffs.
I was really impressed that he took the 10th anniversary of his home award show to do that. And then something else happened that I was not expecting. Jeff Keighley created this new award for Game Changer. And this man, who I'd never heard of prior to this, named Amir Satvat, he took it upon himself, as a person who loves and appreciates video games, he took it upon himself to reach out to people who lost their jobs in the gaming industry and help them find new ones. And he's helped literally thousands of people find new jobs, whether it's, I don't know if it's necessarily in the gaming industry, but still thousands of former developers or thousands of developers find new jobs. And that's, to me, what it's about, right? If you say you care about video games, that you care about the future of games, then you shouldn't be celebrated when people lose their jobs. You shouldn't be happy that developers, studios are being shut down, or that the woke devs are losing their jobs, because A, and like I've said in a million videos, you don't know what you're talking about. You're talking about activist developers, they're ruining it. You guys don't know what you're talking about. But B, and most importantly, these are the people who make the games. They make the games. If they are not happy, if they are not safe, like I've said thousands of times before, then the quality of their games suffer. The fact that they don't have any sort of security is scary, yet they're still making these games. So for someone like Amir to do this is such a great thing, and it's so fucking boss. And I love it so much. Because again, it shows that we are a community. We are not just these parasites who demand everything from you and give you nothing. At least that's what I strive to be. And I feel like that's a lot of us. We want to give back. And a lot of us give back in doing stuff like YouTube, talking about the games that we love, what we're excited about, how games work, games from an artistic perspective, games from an analytical perspective, right? Even those of us who critique, which I also do, we do it in the hopes of improving the industry, improving gaming. But those other guys, they're not like us. They want games to be worse. And they want it to be worse because they want games to be essentially this time capsule in which nothing progresses, in which every single character is a white, blonde, buff guy. And then if there's a minority, they have to put in roles where only minorities make sense, like criminals, second fiddle, background, NPCs, if that. And the women have to all be big titty girls who look like One Piece girls. That's it. That's the only one allowed. That's literally it. Everything else is bad and ugly. That's what they want. That is the antithesis of art. Art is about self-expression, creative freedom, evolving. You want to tell different stories, or if you're telling a similar story, you want to put your own spin on things, right? These people don't care about video games, like at all. And it's more than anything, it's so apparent when you look at all the love and passion that developers and creators actually have when they love something and care about it versus what these guys do and put out. Because how are you watching if you love The Witcher and you've been playing this games like you claim to play? How are you surprised that Ciri is the next main character? Why are you nitpicking a frame of the character? Might I add, specifically picking one frame to use like they always do in How It's Women? Why are you doing that? Borderlands fans, I'm not really one of them. I don't really like the Borderlands series, but Borderlands has a lot of fans. Borderlands 4 was premiered during the award show, and I'm seeing people lose their mind. They're like, oh my god, I can't believe in Borderlands 3, like the Vault Hunters, like those are going to be the guys we're getting side quests from now. It's going to be crazy. It's been that long time. And then I'm seeing people talking about how, man, there's not a single masculine character that was featured in this game. As if there wasn't a fucking half-naked looking barbarian dude from the Hyborian age right there. The guy they say that doesn't exist in games because games are too woke and too soft is right in front of them. But because of cultural war bullshit, they have to lie and say that, nope, doesn't exist, not happening, can't happen anymore. The same lie they put out when they say, oh man, women can't be sexy in games anymore. It's like, no, it's just that your definition of sexy is a 12-year-old's definition, understanding of sexiness. I like big titties and big ass, but I understand that sexiness is more than that. There are different body types, different types of people, and that's totally fine and allowed, and doesn't need my permission to exist. But again, these people who bemoan everything, they're upset over everything. They just announced Okami 2. I have nothing to be upset about. We're getting Onimusha. I got nothing to be upset about. There have been so many announcements that I'm like, if you like video games, truly like video games, you cannot be disappointed at what happened yesterday. But the people who are disappointed are the people who don't like these games and don't play these games. Going back to Borderlands, I use that example because there was specifically a tweet I saw which proved how these people don't fucking play games. This guy was critiquing the Borderlands art style, saying it looks bland and bad and this and that. And I was like, oh, so you've never played a Borderlands game. This has been their art direction since day one. Since day one. And it just, again, it's so apparent how many of these people are just fakers. These people who just want outrage. It's more apparent the more you look at the people who actually care. You look at someone like Amir. Amir, you look at him, he put in the work. He wasn't just talk, he put in the work. He's not someone who's gonna, I don't know, sit on the internet all day on Twitter complaining about games being too low. Meanwhile, their game hasn't been made in fucking 8 years. They took $600,000 to not work on a game, admitted to not work on a game for years at a time, but just sits on the internet complaining about other people's games. Like, he wouldn't do that because he actually likes video games. He wouldn't make a list talking about how this game is censored and needs to be freed. He wouldn't make a website trying to, I don't know, end Kotaku. You know what I mean? Like, that's not something people who actually care and love video games would do. They would try to find ways to be more productive, more constructive. I don't know why it took ironically, the Video Game Awards show to make me realize that, like, yeah, dude, you fucking love video games, but I fucking love video games. I see that awards show, I was like, I want to be there. I'm making commitment. I'm gonna go to the award show next year, and I'm gonna also try to go to Summer Game Fest. I want to go to more gaming focused things because I want to be around like-minded individuals. I spent way too much time dealing with these absolute morons on the internet who know little to nothing about gaming in terms of even the consumer side or the production side of things. Listening to them whining about why they can't jerk off to Siri, and I don't want to hear that. I want to hear the people who made Siri. I want to hear what development challenges they had. I wanted to hear, you know, if they were going to bring back the original voice actors and they didn't work out, or, you know, if they always wanted to like age up the models or all that stuff. That's what I want to hear. That's what I care about. And also, God damn it, Okami 2? Like, when I say I was in tears, I'm not joking. I was watching this at work with my coworker, and I'm going like, holy shit. And like, I can feel the water behind my eyes. Okami is such a fucking special game to me, man. Like, it's so beautifully told. It's a beautiful game. The music, the Ryoshima Coast music, when you come back again, and then like the taco drums start coming in. It's like, dun, 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 dun. Oh, it's so fucking good. Even the digging Bow Wow music, like more digging here, Bow Wow, doesn't have to go that hard, and it does. And I'm like, fantastic. And then the abilities, being able to use calligraphy to, fucking love that game, man. I love it. What was I talking about? Oh, yeah. Basically, I love video games. And I think the people who watch this channel, thank you so much, by the way. And the people who watch the gaming awards and actually, like, you know, care about video games, like video games too. But the people who just talk about them, and not in a way that in the sort of like hands-on experience is being gleaned, but clearly from like I heard from a person who heard from a person who heard from a person type of discussion, that they don't. It's those people, right, who are like, an insider from BioWare told me this thing. Actually, wait, that number sounds too high. Let me go and revise that so it sounds lower. The insider called me back. It's those guys who have to make shit up, hallucinate things to be mad about, because they have nothing. They have no passion. They have no love for video games. They have no appreciation for it as an art. They have no appreciation for people who make the games. They just, quite simply, are miserable people who just want to make money being miserable. And to that, I say a hearty, go fuck yourselves.